It's another exclusive. Go ahead and get seated. You know the name, I ain't gotta repeat it. Keep it bumping like a mosh pit, rocking through the night. If you love it, leave a comment, hit subscribe and like. Always raise the bar, reaching for new heights. Shining like a star, illuminating with the light. I know you see me from afar, I'm burning bright.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back. This is day number 4 of our Rainbow Swastika. And Ariel, how you doing?
Good. Sorry, I just had another tab open with you still talking, or like a tab of the video. But I mean, I'm all right. You know, things have been kind of tough. My dog's not doing so well right now, but I'm just trying to keep my mind positive right now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, we're going to get your mind off of it and we're going to get back into this stuff where we left off yesterday. And you have some stuff planned for us, right?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm going to throw the screen up there.
Yeah. So this is from Free the Captives, the same channel that I showed yesterday. Again, pretty ideological, but you can separate that from some of the other stuff they're saying. That's relatively objective.
And I'm proposing that if there were to be an Office for the Future movement in the United Nations, which it almost already is, one step would be convening people everywhere to find out what's working and then to communicate what's working, such that the offices for the future, wherever they may be, anywhere in the world, and several are being prototyped in Mexico, in the United States, and in other places already. So it doesn't have to be only through the UN, but the UN could be like a mother matrix.
Mother Matrix. Let me make that bigger.
Inside UN headquarters is an ominous meditation room. The custodian of the meditation room is Lucis Trust Company. At one time, the Lucis Trust was located at 666 United Nations Plaza and was formerly named Lucifer Publishing Company. The Rockefeller-funded UN meditation room is 33 feet long and 18 feet wide. 18 feet is 6 plus 6 plus 6. The small, dimly lit, windowless room was built in the shape of a pyramid that is laying on its side. At the center of the room is a 4-foot-high, black, casket-shaped stone slab which weighs 6.5 tons and is extremely magnetic and rests on a concrete pillar. The pillar descends beneath the floor into the bedrock and taps into the Earth's hyperdimensional energies to induce a state of altered consciousness. Not far from the meditation room is the United Nations Security Council chamber. This is the emergency room of the UN, where the world leaders meet when there is a threat to peace. They decide the fate of nations. Notice the giant mural that towers over the Security Council room. The central focus of the UN mural is the phoenix bird that has risen. The phoenix bird is a symbol of Lucifer. Egyptians believed that the phoenix symbolized a god who rose to heaven in the form of a morning star like Lucifer after his fire immolation of death and rebirth. Notice that the phoenix bird is not standing above his own ashes. He is standing above his old skin. Like a snake, he has shed his old skin and is revealing himself as God at the center of the mural. At the top left, there is a church steeple without a cross. The missing cross symbolizes the death of Christianity. Below, a woman receives the rays of the sun god, while the man in front of her plays Pan's flute. To their right are two pyramid symbols.
He's hiding behind her.
Joined together by a long blue serpent-like claw. Below the risen phoenix, a sword is driven through a dragon beast. Behind the phoenix, the ghostly figures of the walking dead are stepping into a void. They symbolize depopulation. On the right panel, the pale horse from the book of Revelation is the bringer of death to humanity through weapons, hunger, and disease. The man is releasing him. The chained black man represents slavery, while the top panel of the mural shows a technologically advanced white race who control industry, art, and science. In this post-apocalyptic mural, the military man standing on the tail of the beast represents worldwide military power. He tips his helmet to the elite, who are climbing out from underground cities where they safely hid from the apocalypse.
I have a lot to
You know,
say
we
about
are
that
in
mural. We
difficult
need to
times.
stop and go back.
The world is in different.
Stop it. I want to see, can we pull the mural up? Can you find it online? Can we pull it up? Because I really want to decode it. I love decoding art. What is that? The mural in the UN? Ariel, I can't hear you.
Oh, sorry, I was muted.
Yeah, you're muted. I couldn't hear you.
Let's
That's
see.
the mural in at the UN, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to find it. You're all.
God, they're even selling it on eBay. They're selling it on eBay. I got it. I'll do it for you. Hold on. Here we go. Rock and roll. What the heck? Google Chrome is window pricker. I guess. Okay. Can you see it?
No.
All right. So the first part
Nope.
is
We can't see it.
you can't see it.
No.
It's really weird. Hold on. Oh, I gotta add it to the stage. Okay.
Well, no, that's
The
not the
wrong
one.
one. That's yours. Okay. Add mine. There we go. There we go. You only have to pay $4. Okay. First thing I seen was the almond, the oval, of course. That is a symbol of the vagina. Now with the phoenix, the first thing that come to mind with the phoenix was all of Jason of Archaic's teachings. What is he talking about? It's like they've been set up and preparing to tell people what's going to happen, right? The dragon, I'm not really sure. This harkens back to me talking about maybe how they were searching for dragons. Hillman is a dragon, right? He keeps saying he's a dragon. Maybe they are the sacrifice for the energy behind the phoenix rising. I'm not sure. This makes sense right here because we've always heard about, the underground tunnels and stuff. I don't know about that, but there are underground tunnels that they're finding. What I think so interesting about this over here, the part where he's hiding behind the woman and he's playing Pan's flute. This to me is showing that, woman is the source of the energy and she absorbs it and she transfers it, right? And why he would be hiding behind her. This back here looks like a jubilee and a celebration. Very much a celebration. Up here at the top, this looks like Babylon and great fires to me, and somebody painting it. That up there looks like Babylon. Down here, you have a child. Is that supposed to be the serpent handing the fruit to the child? Is that other child? I don't know.
Well, apparently, I don't know where this. I don't want to get too specific because that'd reveal it. But basically, that there's some people who consider the fruit of good and evil in the story of Eden to have actually been the child of Satan. That I don't know. It's weird.
Well, that's an interesting theory for sure. Yeah. Yeah. And then this shit up here with the white race being the intelligent race. Hello? Has most of the tech not come from the Asians?
And it's come from all over.
It has come from all over. But to think that one race is the intelligent race, I need proof. Give me facts, right? Show me
The only,
proof.
the only people who will try to give you proof are generally not the best people.
Right, exactly, exactly.
The horse from the book of Revelation is the bringer of death to humanity through weapons, hunger, and disease. The man is releasing him. The chained black man represents slavery, while the top panel of the mural shows a technologically advanced white race who control industry, art, and science. In this post-apocalyptic mural, the military man standing on the tail of the beast represents worldwide military power. He tips his helmet to the elite, who are climbing out from underground cities where they safely hid from the apocalypse.
We are in difficult times. The world is in difficult times, not just the United States. There seems to be a trend of the dark forces that are trying to create a religious war between Christianity and Islam. Why the media is so focused on letting this happen, and the negativity and the fear and the horror and the terror taking place, I'm not sure. But the new group of world servers are here on the planet. And that's why I wanted to talk about it this morning, that we're not alone. We have the spiritual hierarchy. We have the lords of Shambhala that will step in at any time that humanity is losing its way. And they will inspire the new group of world servers. That means that, once again, let me say this, we are not alone as a humanity. So what better time during the holidays and the holy days that we remember these things? Let me begin the talk this morning with a quote from the Tibetan Djwhal Khul. He said, "There are always forces of enlightenment present on earth.
There's Alice.
They are small in number." When I read that, at first it bothered me. And then I realized the teachings remind us that senior disciples, initiates, masters, Mahashohans, they each represent an army of light. An army of light.
Does it feel new? Are we giving birth to the next stage of human species, folks? Do you think so? What are the qualities of the new human that nature is once again out of this crisis producing something new? The new human has got an evolutionary spirituality that he incarnates the impulse of evolution personally.
Alice Ann Bailey was a leading disciple of the Russian theosophist Madame Helena Blavatsky, the founder of Theosophy. Bailey formed the Lucifer Publishing Company in 1920, and in 1922 she saw the organization's name change to Lucis Trust, though the advancement of the Luciferian beliefs remained true. Lucis Trust promulgates the work of a, quote, ascended master, a spiritual being who was working through or in Alice Bailey for some 30 years. The Lucis Trust Publishing Company and their many fronts carry out the work of a Luciferian, quote, master plan for the establishment of something they call the Age of Aquarius.
Any thoughts?
That was from H.G. Wells, right? Many
Yeah.
people will die because you're resisting it. You know, well, you're gonna freaking die anyway. That's the problem. That's the problem. And the other problem is this promise of eternal life. And it's like a promise of immortality and eternal life, extended life, or heaven after life. It is somebody else's story to spin to take control over you and your mind and your heart. It's bullshit, you know? And people die. That's just the cycle of life. People die. Why would you want to live forever? I mean, it's hard enough to get through one lifetime without being bogged down with pain and injury and trauma, and to continue to press on and to love on and to live. You know, why would you want to continue to do that as if once you become immortal, you no longer had issues that caused you pain? I mean, maybe that is it. Maybe you become a heart of stone. I don't fucking know, but that ain't the way I'm going.
I mean, I think that's kind of part of the point. It's like, theoretically, if someone can make themselves live forever, like, you know, digitally or whatever, they could also, you know, change their mind enough digitally that they wouldn't have some of those things. But again, that's like, you know, really out there.
Yeah, well, I can see where they're going. They're wanting to merge our consciousness, not our full body, not the physical body, but just our consciousness into the web of things, because they've been growing brain matter on, computer chips for a while. So, and what has happened is they kept so much tech hidden, and they just gave us just little bits, you know, through all these years, just little bits. And then boom, look, we have all this tech. People can't keep up. People are overwhelmed. Everything from the pot's getting thrown onto the wall. Let's see what sticks. Let's see who goes. Let's see who stays. Depopulation. Yay, yay, yay. What the fuck?
Yeah. Some of what you're talking about actually kind of this next video goes into.
Okay, you ready?
Yep.
You guys cover some very serious topics and really do some wonderful research into the darker aspect of the human existence, and especially what the power elites are doing to kind of shape reality to their liking. Philip, your article started out with a very compelling sentence. Luciferianism constitutes the nucleus of the ruling class religion. Can you elaborate on that? What exactly do you mean by that?
Sure. Well, as you know, this conspiracy, we can really trace its philosophical lineage back several thousands of years, all the way back to Babylon and to Nimrod. And it's from Nimrod and from the Babylonian priesthood and the mystery religions that spread throughout Mesopotamia that we pretty much find the core belief system that has made its way all the way to contemporary times, and it pretty much constitutes the belief system of the power elite today. It's this belief system that has really kept the conspiratorial tradition alive. This is one of the reasons that the conspiratorial tradition that down throughout the ages has been perpetuated in several different forms. Today, we see it with power elite organs such as the Council on Foreign Relations, Trilateral Commission, the Bilderberg group, the neoconservative faction of the power elite. Before that, it was more of it was manifested itself in more religious forms amongst several different ecclesiastical authorities. It kind of found its way into Jesuitism. It was one of the primary moving beliefs of communism, of Nazism. But this belief system is what has kept the conspiratorial tradition alive. Nothing keeps a tradition alive quite so long and maintains its longevity quite as well as a religion. To give you an example, you have the Crusades. The Crusades lasted as long as they did because they were based
Sibyls.
upon religious convictions, and it's Luciferianism that really guides these people's thinking, that really guides these people in the promulgation of the different policies and ideas that they develop. It's really this that constitutes the backbone and the nucleus of every elite plan, and that is this ultimate desire for apotheosis. And if I might just add, religion is always what gives any crusade its longevity, just because it resonates in the deepest part of the human being, which is in the soul. Apotheosis is becoming a god, is basically deification, the deification of the individual. And any belief system that promotes this core doctrine of deification, of the apotheosizing of man, of man's transfiguration into the divine, any belief system is essentially at its core Luciferian. It doesn't even have to make mention of the person of Lucifer. It doesn't have to make mention of the person that is the devil, and that's what makes Luciferianism so incredibly insidious. It's like what I've mentioned to you in the past. It's kind of a self-eviscerating belief system. That is, it empties itself of all its metaphysical content.
That's what's coming, y'all. Devo, you bound to see boobies on my channel. What you talking about?
Lucifer, or Satan, is not a literal metaphysical personality to the Luciferians. Instead, Lucifer is he's a symbol. He represents the cognitive powers of man, what man has the potential to become. And God, in this belief system, which, by the way, finds its paradigmatic character in the Gnostic hypostasis myth, which is the hypostasis of the archons. God in that framework becomes a cruel, abusive, oppressive principle of superstition and binding man down from using these powers that could otherwise result in his transfiguration into the divine.
World judgment set upon us by strangers.
Has been disseminated on the popular level under several different appellations, such as secular humanism. Secular humanism is, in fact, Luciferianism in its purest form. It relocates the ultimate moral authority within man himself, thus reiterating Protagoras' mantra that man is the measure of all things. And now that man has become the arbiter, the absolute arbiter of moral law, he thus decides good and evil for himself, is beyond good and evil, and
Pause that.
Essentially
Pause
is
it.
God. And
pause it. I don't want no new babies. You better fast forward it or something.
that's of course a slippery slope because once you can reconceptualize good and evil according to your own self-interest and your own agendas, then pretty soon evil becomes non-existent, and whatever is most expedient for you is permissible, and that's why Luciferianism is so appealing to the power elite, because the power elite, they don't want any roadblocks. They don't want any obstacles to their power. And they literally believe that that eventually, through their crusade to establish one world government, through the crusade to unite all the world's economies, all the world's political systems, and then through science itself, they will transfigure themselves into the divine. They will essentially become no longer human, but will become God.
Let's destroy everything so I can be God now, okay?
Freemasonry that has acted as one of the transmission belts for the belief system into this modern cultural milieu. Masons adhere to a mythic counterpart to the biblical account of Eden. And by the way, not every Mason, especially the lower initiates, are fully aware of the true inner doctrine. Some of them have bits and pieces, some of them have a fragmentary understanding, but only the highest initiates understand.
Don't get banned. You will get banned. You may not care. I don't care either.
And only the highest initiates are aware of the true inner doctrine. So you have your common everyday rank and file Mason who, you know, will run charities, will do good things for the community, and they themselves are probably very good people. But behind that veil, behind the organizational confluences that keep these people just confused and in the dark, there is this inner doctrine, and it's basically a mythic counterpart to the biblical account of Eden. They believe that humanity once inhabited paradise but fell and must regain its former glory. But the Masonic paradise was not a garden. It wasn't the Garden of Eden. It was instead a unified human consciousness called the group soul or collective soul.
We want you hive-minded so you don't have to think. So you can own nothing and be happy. That's where we're going. You don't have to think, just be happy. Don't think, just be happy.
So yeah, that kind of goes into some of what I mean, not directly, but actually there is a connection, but maybe to more of a like later chapter. But nonetheless, so the Rainbow Swastika, a report to the Jewish people about New Age anti-Semitism by Hannah Newman. This is part B, but all societies believe nonsense. As in cell replication, any given society sooner or later hits on a chunk of lethal nonsense and collapses. In a world of many independent societies, this does not matter much, but once communication technology has formed a single global society, the time must come when everyone believes the same lethal nonsense simultaneously. Civilization then collapses globally, leaving no seed from which it could rise again. That's from David Jones, quoted by Richard Cruz, CPU Review, April 1993, page 44. And I read that yesterday, but I didn't realize it was from a different part. So, see, Part B, Human History According to the New Age. In spite of cautions like the above, New Agers are supremely confident that their society is free of lethal nonsense. On the contrary, they are convinced that the very survival of civilization depends on their success in reshaping mankind's understanding of its own origins and destiny. I'm going to take it out real quick, but do you have any thoughts on that?
They're completely brainwashed thinking that utopia is attainable, and then after attainable is sustainable. and even fucking resembles something healthy. It's delusion. It's a Stepford Wives situation.
I don't know. They seem pretty happy.
I mean, they can be fucking happy. Yeah, they are happy, you know? I mean, wouldn't you be happy if if you knew that you were going to be God at the expense of everything, including, you know, the bare bones of the planet, you
Well,
know?
but that's the trick. They don't actually know it. They just believe it.
Yeah, they believe it. That is the trick. They are selling a fantasy. All this is trading one fantasy in for another. Hold on.
Yeah.
I got caught. I was coping. So, oh, what did Mary say? Yep, heard that from the horse's mouth.
You there?
And yeah, I'm going. I'll be all right.
No worries.
You know they try to attack us during our live streams because they're satanic like that. Hello, Sean. Hello, Sean.
Anyway, so let's see. In their view, any lethal nonsense that exists is to be found in those who do not accept any of the doctrines that follow. 1. Mankind as a whole is continually evolving upward. Physically and or spiritually, there is no meaningful difference between material and spiritual in this evolution. What we consider physical reality is Maya, Hindu term for illusion. No different from dreams or imagination. In fact, once men's minds are released from accepting the illusion of physical limitations, anything and everything is possible for humanity. Therefore, the material physical world is actually an evil in that it holds up in that it holds us back from developing our full potential. Bailey identified the dark forces in part as materialism and the persistence in relating to matter as real, externalization of the hierarchy.
That's very Gnostic. That's a Gnostic concept that the physical realm, the material world is pure fucking evil and we're born into sin. So it goes in that born into sin. So now if people believe that you're born into sin, then they must save you somehow from this, you know, sinful place, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Where are we? Yeah, externalization of the hierarchy, section 2, page 74 to 75. Hindu yogis devote their lives to escaping the maya of this life through physical deprivation and self-inflicted suffering. So do theosophists. In keeping with the Gnostic tradition, see Blavatsky, The Secret Doctrine, part 1, page 70. Tibetan Buddhists try to escape it through prolonged isolation and silent meditation. Inevitably, all who accept such a view of earthly existence see death as a welcome escape and a helping hand in human evolution, as did Bailey, Externalization of the Hierarchy, part 2, page 75. The New Age doctrines most familiar to us are tailored to Western demands for a quicker and less painful death, but their offer of personal transformation sets the same goal for the initiate. Escape from the limitations of this life, at least mentally, if one is not ready for the physical step. A quick survey of popular movies of recent years will show how energetically we're being indoctrinated to free ourselves from the physical plane or the material world. An especially powerful apologetic is The Matrix, which a Gnostic acquaintance recommended to me as a good presentation of his belief system. And lest viewers miss the fact that they are being preached at in the final moments of the flick, the main character, Neo, Greek for new man, in league with Morpheus, Greek for change, also the god of dreams, turns into a combination of Superman and Messiah and takes over the dialogue. All sense of fictional plot dissolves as he directs an old-fashioned altar call straight at the viewing audience, inviting them to join him in this kind of freedom where everything is possible. The same tactic was used with more subtlety in The Truman Show, where Truman, true man, finally catches on to his illusory life, defies his manipulative creator Christoph, also named deliberately, and steps right out of his existence to the cheers of his vast audience waiting for him on the outside. That's kind of like that one. What is it? Let's see. hermetic is piercing the veil, I think it's called. Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, there it
Piercing
is.
the veil. You're talking about the veil of Isis.
No, I'm referring to this idea, like the veil, or like the firmament, kind of this idea of like breaking out of reality almost.
Right, that is the veil. It's the same. It's the veil of
Oh, it
Isis.
is.
That veil that is it's medical, and a lot of these are occulted medical practices, right? So the veil of Isis would be the blood brain barrier, as well as the bridge between left and right hemispheres, right? Because there's a way that you can get them synced up and functioning together simultaneously.
It's kind of interesting. It's almost like the opposite of Deus Ex Machina, like God out of the machine. It's more like God, like human into the machine.
Exactly. That is what we're saying, merging consciousness with AI and interwebs. Yeah.
Well, but in this case, I'm not referring to an actual machine, but like the machinations of reality, kind of like the idea of going beyond your normal consciousness in and kind of seeing things more like God does. Not to say that you can, because like it would fry your brain, but
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. Kind of like the strongest trip you ever had on hyper fucking steroids, probably.
oof.
Being able to visualize, to experience and integrate, right? Like, let me tell you about an experience. I won't tell you what substance I did it on, but I was able to look and get down into 2D vision. I got my vision down to 2D. Thought it was so awesome. And I could go back and forth at will. So I'm like, yeah, if my ancestors did substances and claimed they went to fucking Pluto or Jupiter, Saturn or Venus, I would believe it. Because in your mind, if you have that perception and you can tap there in your mind, you can go anywhere, like literally. And I am not I'm not saying go do shit so you can go anywhere in your mind, but I believe that's just what I believe.
Yeah. Sorry, I was listening. I'm just, because of everything, I've just been a bit distracted. But yeah, let's continue. We have evolved through several root races. This is, one of the, let's use this part of this. Yeah, number one, mankind, continually evolving upward. We have evolved through several root races. The first was the Lemurian, and the second was the Atlantean. The latter, dated by New Age mythology, is ending 26,000 years ago. We are nearing the end of the third, the Aryan root race. Yes, it's the same Aryan race found in Nazi doctrine, except they identify the location not as Atlantis but Hyperborea. Each root race goes through stages which produce sub-races, representing stair steps upward toward the next race, in which mankind acquires new attributes and abilities. So what this is essentially saying is, and notice this, the theosophical worldview is that humanity is continually evolving upward, which inherently implies that the further back in the past you get, the less quote unquote evolved people are. But the thing is, it ignores the fact that it's not like you just have one, group of people pop up and then you have another one, and because one group popped up earlier, has identity early. In fact, it's actually the other way around. The further back in time you go, if you see civilizations then and you look at them now, more likely to have a much longer history. And by that definition, you could say it's more evolved.
Right, right. Well, too, you got to think about the genetics and the interplay of it. Exactly. And I want to hit on what Mary said, because it's all about psychosis, Mary. It's all about control of the mind and who will have control of your mind, right? Are you in control?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. There's nothing wrong with mind control as long as it's you. The issue is when
Mhm.
someone's mind jacking you.
Exactly. Hijacking the minds.
Yeah, it's kind of like, if you think about it, the term brainwash, it's kind of weird because to wash something means to clean it, versus what indoctrination is much more akin to dyeing something, to staining it with a color.
Right. Well, you got to think of things in reverse and opposites too. If they think they're helping humanity, they're scrubbing it clean, right? They're ridding it of the filth and the vermin.
I guess I'm just not in the cult mindset. That's why it doesn't make sense to me.
I know. And when I talk to people, they a lot of times they don't get it, and I'm like, I've just been in it for so long. I just have, and it's just they want to fix. They think they're fixing things. They're
Yeah,
not.
speaking of that, look at this, representing stair steps upward towards the next race in which mankind acquires new attributes and abilities. That literally is like right up with
It's
you know
it's traumatizing you so that your fight or flight and fawn and whatever kicks in. It's your hypersensitivity, right? The more you're traumatized, the more your senses are going to be aware so you can see danger coming. They keep you in your mammalian brain. That to me, I don't care what anybody says. That to me is the lizard people, serpent people, is the ones that are actively working to keep you in your mammalian brain, to keep you in fear, in fight or flight. So you're hyper vigilant. And what happens when you're hyper vigilant? Everything around you notice. And what happens if you get angry, right? Just because you're kept in a hyper vigilant state. You mess up, you make mistakes, right?
So, yeah, kind of going on that as well. There's
Yeah, it does.
definitely within like this realm of like, I mean, the tech world kind of interweaves with New Age thought a lot. But like Pavel Durov, the founder of Telegram, he has over 100 kids through IVF, and like you also had like Jeffrey Epstein who wanted to like seed the world with his seed,
Oh,
and
God.
um, and then you also have that with Elon Musk, like he, with everything that's coming out now.
This guy here has 100 kids.
Yep, and he's also willing to pay for certain people to get IVF free. Essentially, he's paying for it as long as it's with his sperm.
I love how the tech giants that are pushing for total totalitarian tyrannical control are out seeding the fucking world while convincing everybody else that you can just, you can schedule your death and we'll assist it, or, you can just, you're demeaning life to me when you can go get banged and a month or two later, oh, let's just go have an abortion. You know, where is the meaning of life? Do you think he has 2 seconds to give any of those fucking kids? He has cheated every one of those fucking souls that he helped bring into this world. Fuck him. Fuck you, dude. You're an asshole.
Yeah, and I mean, also his platform. Just saying, his platform's been used to like it's been on the news for this. It's one of the reasons that people were trying to. Well, actually, no. I think no. Russia was trying to shut it down because it was being used for political free speech. But then on the other hand, you also have people using it as like a hub for all types of fucked up shit.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's basically no moderation, which is like a huge red flag.
Here's the thing with the moderation, okay? And these people, especially these YouTube channels, and there's a few that I'm directing the energy towards that I will not name, that use the premise of free speech, and it's usually men using the premise of free speech as a way of allowing abuse, verbal abuse to happen, kind of no hose barred. Say whatever the fuck you want, zero consequences, because hey, free speech. You're using it in a way it was not meant for, in a very unmoral and unethical way. You are depleting the life force and essence of the people that you attack when you do that. You are depleting the meaning of life when you allow people to abuse other people on your channel. You are abusing your power on your platform. You are allowing abuse to happen. Exactly what I was able to point out a pedo at the lake that everyone else thought he was innocently standing around rocking back watching these teenagers. I could see that because of your exactly. I alert the campground authorities and come to find out he was someone that had escaped jail recently in the area. You have to go on your gut instincts and don't they want you to second guess yourself and doubt yourself, doubt your instincts, your intuition, and who you are, and don't let them.
Yeah. Let's see. According to Alice Bailey, these ages change every 2,000 years and are reflected in the astrological signs. We are currently at a transition stage between two ages in our planetary evolution, about to enter the sixth subrace of the Aryan root. This is only one example of the strange math which plagues New Age history. To pass through 5 ages of Aryan race history since Atlantis would only take 10,000 years, leaving another 16,000 unaccounted for. To complicate human history even further, Theosophist G. de Purucker, I don't know, claims that we are witnessing the birth of the sixth subrace of our present fifth rather than third root race, according to him. The Lemurian and Atlantean are the third and fourth. Root races 1 and 2 are unidentified. He names the Aryan race as one of the very first subraces of our own fifth root race, not the root race itself, which remains nameless, noting that the Aryan race is declining but will rise again. Revived subraces are not mentioned by Bailey. Meanwhile, our current subrace won't die out for another 427,000 years, and by his Brahmanical calculations, that's Brahmanical in quotes, by the way, a single root race lasts not 26,000 years, but 8.6 million years. See The Fountain Source of Occultism, published by the Theosophical Society. Before we laugh, we must remember that these histories, both versions in fact, are not attributed by New Agers to confused humans, but to disembodied spirit beings who propose to guide mankind to higher wisdom. In view of their track record on wisdom so far, I wouldn't trust them with my personal bank account, let alone mankind's future. Unironically, there's a lot of involvement with modern corporations and financial systems. In order to reach each new subrace, the highest form of mankind must make a collective quantum leap across an evolutionary gap. Other inferior strains are left behind and eventually die out as newly empowered root, sometimes called the new starseed, takes over. Anyone who remembers the classic movie 2001: A Space Odyssey will recall the unexplained scenes with the obelisk that mysteriously appears and the sudden leap of higher consciousness in those who touched it. This was one of the earliest media efforts to introduce the New Age quantum leap evolution doctrine in Western society at large, but at that time, 1970, New Age change agents were still under orders by the hierarchy to keep a low profile. Thus, viewers were shown nothing but a visual riddle, the keys to which were only shared with the initiated. Wait, what's this from? It's Chain about New Age anti-Semitism. Oh, transformation of society. Okay, going back. The new subrace is considered literally a new mutated species of man. John White, International Cooperation Council Directory, 1979, page 13 to 15, coined the name Homo noeticus, which is a newer and higher form of humanity taking control of the planet, while the older species, Homo sapien, dies out from a massive dose of irrationalism. This concept of the old species dying out to make way for the new was also held by Hitler. See him quoted in Spear of Destiny, Trevor Ravenscroft, page 250. White continues, outwardly, these mutant humans resemble the earlier forms. The difference is inward, in their changed mentality and their consciousness. In de Purucker's words, its forerunners are very few. They're strange people, freaks of nature. The idea of humans mutating upward is also being sold nonstop to our society through entertainment, especially for children. You'll be hard-pressed to find a kiddie cartoon, computer game, toy, or popular movie where the hero is not some mutant blend of human or non-human human and non-human elements, either visibly or spiritually or both. This, of course, flies in the face of real life on our planet. All branches of science have shown that mutations are never an advantage to a species and always die out. Wait, what? That's not true. All branches of science have shown that mutations are never an advantage. That is not true. Never an advantage to a species and always die out quickly. Yeah, that's not true. Positive mutations simply do not exist on Earth. They're what?
I'm dropping a link to that book if people want to read it. It's over 700 pages. If you want to know what their indoctrination is, that fountain source of occultism by Blavatsky, that's 700 pages. There, I'm telling you, there were ghost writers for these people. There had to be. You want to tell me you're going to have all these publications? How are you going to have all these publications, all these works of arts, and you're going to, you're going to do all this traveling? No, we have ghost writers. We have people that one person gets the name, right, on Front Street and the glory and kudos, while there's ghost writers and so many other people backstage.
Yeah. Let's see. So positive mutations simply do not exist on Earth, let alone a single extraterrestrial composite remotely like the Star Trek or Star Wars heroes we all grew to know and love. But hard evidence is no barrier to New Age thought, which holds the imaginary to be as valid as the real. Another Gnostic idea.
Mm-hmm.
2. The term New Age refers to the astrological age of Aquarius, which is about to begin, as soon as there is a critical mass of initiates, or enlightened ones ready to make the leap to the next subrace. The pop group Fifth Dimension released their hit Age of Aquarius around 1970, whose lyrics explain in detail the astrological signs of its arrival. The 40-something crowd will remember 40-something then, probably like, let's see, this was written in like, that'd be like 2010 then? Wow. 40-something crowd will remember so that'd be, 50 or like, I'm like 55, I don't know. 40-something crowd will the then 40-something crowd will remember the seemingly unrelated song that was awkwardly tacked onto the end of the song, urging us all to let the sun shine, let the sun shine in.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Another clear indoctrination effort. The term Fifth Dimension itself is a code phrase referring to the plane of the spirit guides. See New Ager Jose Arguelles, interviewed by the Intergroup for Planetary Oneness, Meditation Magazine, summer 1987. The old age being replaced is named by Alice Bailey as the Age of Pisces, which ushered in the Christian dispensation. Conservative Christians are creating an obstacle to mankind reaching this critical mass, since they're unreasonably attached to their old dispensation, and their influence must be neutralized. The Jews, who refused even to leave their age of Aries, the time of the Torah, to enter the age of Pisces to merge with Christianity, are doubly behind in their evolutionary development. Bailey, Reappearance of the Christ, page 81. And as a result, double trouble is caused by the lingering influence the Jewish religion has on society. Enacting a solution to this is central to the New Age plan. 3. This evolutionary progress depends on 4 major concepts. Handed down, it is taught mainly from Babylonian and Hindu religion. Reincarnation, karma, human eugenics, and balance with the earth. So 3a, reincarnation. Each soul returning many times into different bodies. This concept is so popular that not much needs to be explained here. However, note that the evidence for reincarnation is problematic. It is always subjective, based on someone's narrative, which cannot be verified or falsified, and it's not always self-serving. That's just not true. But that's what she says. Everyone's past life memory is fascinating, rather than mundane. Not necessarily, as we might expect billions of lives to be. And a past life invariably justifies what one already wants to do in this life. We are encouraged to explain our past lives, to build upon them rather than regret them, no matter how unsavory we were. The one exception is the Jews. Only Jews are expected to reject their present identity as Jews, which is the unfortunate result of a shameful past incarnation as what else? Jews again. See externalization of the hierarchy, part 2, page 78. Classic reincarnation holds that there's a limited number of souls being recycled over eons through thousands of lives. Obviously, there is a problem with this theory, as there are far too many people on Earth today to tally with the smaller number of reincarnated souls from the past. To resolve this, one theory usually holds that souls have had to split in order for each person on Earth to carry a spark of something human. Jewish proponents of reincarnation usually hold this view. The very idea of one soul being shared by many people clashes with the central Jewish doctrine of the resurrection of the dead at the end of days. Not necessarily, because there's the idea of Gilgul, of reincarnation in Judaism. When each soul is restored to its original body, who will be resurrected with each body? Again, if it's fragments, I see the point.
Well, tell us.
So basically, because if you have, like, say you have person A, and then their soul ends up being split into two people. When everyone's resurrected from the dead, how does it work that, say, two halves of that person's soul are now in two people? How does that one person who it was his whole soul, how does he also?
Right. This is all like New Age doctrine, it seems, like drawn from that concept too.
Well, yeah, but I mean, these ideas do exist before the New Age, which is important to stress.
Right, yeah, that's what I'm saying is what all this is it is an amalgamation of everything that's come before it, basically.
Yeah. Let's see, which life? As a doctrine which no one can find clearly spelled out in the Torah or prophets, reincarnation enjoys an undeserved reputation as a pillar of Judaism. But the more popular explanation is that there must be subhumans walking around, bodies without viable souls inhabiting them. Again, that's a stretch. Compare with Nazi propagandist Rosenberg's statement, as De Purucker of the Theosophical Society explains it, all the stronger, more advanced egos or reincarnating souls take embodiment in the new race, whereas the bodies of the decaying race are given over to less developed egos which enter them, until they will finally be the vehicles for only the least developed egos of the human stock. Fountain, racial cycles, and yugas. At the bottom of De Purucker's soul barrel are a few Lemurian bodies still going on and on, so-called because they are of direct Lemurian descent, which offers vehicles to the very lowest of the human stock. Bailey identified the Lemurian race as the Jews. Interesting. So she's basically saying that, let's read this again. At the bottom of De Purucker's soul barrel are a few Jewish bodies still going on and on, so-called because they are of direct Jewish descent, which offers vehicles to the very lowest class of the human stock. See how different that sounds?
Exactly. Yeah. I just found something in that book that they referenced too that's very, very interesting. Do you want me to show you?
Sure.
Okay. Hold on, let me get over here. Let me pull this one down. How's everybody holding on? New Age is taken from the, yeah, exactly, Mary. You're getting it, girl. See? This is why we are all at different levels of understanding on our path. Okay. So this is that fountain source of occultism that I linked you all. So this is from the Secret Doctrine. According to our teaching, which regards this phenomenal universe as a great illusion, the nearer a body is to the unknown substance. So now we got to dig through this book and figure out what unknown substance she's talking about. The more it approaches reality. As being removed, the farther from this world of Maya. Now, this could be talking about the interwebs of things or AI. Who knows? This is, look, 774 pages. This is also the name of one of the sons. You see the quote of Adam, Abel, the female brother. Do you see that? Abel?
Yeah, but what is it saying is also the...
Of Cain. Habel.
It's trying to say, that Havel means like illusory. See, that,
yeah.
this is just a misunderstanding, because what it is, it's like the reason it gets understood is vanity, which I guess that's part of why people might understand it that way. No, it's literally this idea of like it's fleeting. It doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. It means that it's here today, gone tomorrow. Like that it's not permanent. It doesn't have anything to do with not being real. So
right.
so
Now this,
here it lists meaning to be impermanent, to fade away, hence whatever is non-enduring, illusory. But like she's trying to make this into a great illusion that it's not real.
right. But also, look, I think we might have been given a little bit of an occulted wisdom here too, right? And if we think of it as in an occulted sense, okay, let's put our occult cap on. I need to get me an occult cap, so when I go on camera, I say, we're putting the occult cap on. In an occulted way, when we think about Hillman in the way of Cain, okay, and we think about just how, and we put Cain in the same sense as Orpheus as far as being hurt by a woman, right? Betrayed or feeling hurt or betrayed by a woman.
Wait, how?
Orpheus? Oh, the whole story of Orpheus. Yeah, because
what's that have to do with Cain? Cain's not hurt by a woman.
no. But those that Hillman is attracting definitely have been. Right? Do you see the connection? So in the occulted sense, if Abel is female, okay, and Cain feels right and just for harming the other, right, the brother, then the way of Cain is justified. It's okay. It's okay to feel what you feel, right? And to do what you did. There is forgiveness, right? So I guess it's just the way my brain gets all, that's just the way my brain works. That's where my brain went. Because why? That down here, Blavatsky and them, in the footnotes, they always put the secrets. We seen that with that video you played yesterday. So why would she put Abel, the female brother of Cain? There's something occulted there that they're getting across. I have never yet. Yeah. Welcome, by the way. Good to have you here. So, we have to pay attention to these clues, right? Like yesterday, we seen that Blavatsky put down here in the footnote, here's the telltale truth of what's going on, right? Mm-hmm. So maybe this is a telltale truth as to, in order to utilize the energy of the feminine, right? You have to keep it subservient somehow.
Mm-hmm. So I need to use the restroom real quick, but
okay.
I found a video that goes into some of this. No, it does it's a bit anti-pagan at the beginning, but that's not really the focus of it. I think it's just because, it's made by someone who's like a fundamentalist, but the rest of the video is pretty good. And it also goes into some of the influences that Satanism has had in American culture and government. Which I don't know why they're trying to connect paganism with Satanism. They're not. Notice Amon tries to do the same exact thing, tries to say that paganism is Satanism.
Mm-hmm.
Wicca as an officially sanctioned religion. It's called a Wiccan pentacle. Starting this week, veterans of that faith will have the option of having this controversial symbol associated with witchcraft placed on their headstone.
Anybody here ever seen Apocalypse Now? Okay, those little boats in there on that show was MSRs. They were mine-sweeping, river-going. And what our job was on those little boats was to do rice patrols. The many women and children would be on these boats. Very few men would be on them, and they would go get rice. And a lot of times they would run that rice up the rivers and supply the VC. So our job was to search these little junks or these little boats to look for rice, more than what was normally needed for a family. And so we would do that. We'd stop the little boats. We'd
You
get over
see a baby right there?
search the whole thing, see what was on there. And if there was a little rice, it was fine. But there was quite a bit of rice, then we would take the rice and take it over and show it to a liaison, a Vietnamese liaison officer that we had on there. This man had been in, lived in New York City for a period of about 5 years, spoke better English than I did. And we would take the contents, whatever it was we found, and take it to this man and show it to him. If he thought it was too much rice or too much supplies or whatever for a family, he would question. If he did not like the answers to the questions that he got, we would take the women and children, put them on the boat, and take them back to our little compound. He would further interrogate them from that place, and then if he still did not like the answers to his questions, he would take women and children in the back of the compound and he would shoot them. Well, thank God I didn't have to actually take part in that aspect of things. But as you can imagine, as a young man, and I don't think I'd even turned 20 yet, this really began to bother me. So up until that time, I had never done any drugs. I don't think there was any drugs on the streets of Oklahoma when I'd left. So all we had ever done was drink and carouse. Like I said, we weren't Christians at that time. I wasn't. So as you can imagine, here I am, a 19-year-old kid from Oklahoma, hardly ever been out of Oklahoma. This really bothered me because it got to the place where every time I took one of those kids and lifted them off their boat and set them down on our MSR, I was pretty sure they might not come back. And most of them just women and kids. And actually, most of them were innocent.
As the garrison chaplain, I have the responsibility to ensure that every soldier on Fort Jackson can exercise their constitutional right for free exercise of religion.
Right now we're in South Carolina, which is the known as the Bible Buckle. January 10th, we stood up and had 17 soldiers walk through the door. Now we have between 90 and 130. Now it's going to be a black moon on Friday. We're going to capture that energy and work some magic.
We all have a little bit of magic in us.
Magic is the transcension of my soul.
I worship the old Greek gods, Zeus, Hera, Poseidon.
Dreamscapes and worlds of my own.
The natural flow of life itself.
Several things going on this time of year. It's the equinox. It's also the witch's Thanksgiving. It's also the second harvest.
Spirit, air, fire, water, and earth.
Can you pause this?
No, we don't. All right. And I need a...
Is this part of the military sect? Is this a branch of the military?
Or I don't know if it's a branch, but it's in the military.
It's in the military. That's interesting because I wonder if they're actively doing this for other religions as well.
I do kind of wonder now that you mention it. I mean, because there's military chaplains, so I have to imagine, this isn't that fundamentally different than having a prayer service for, Jewish or Christian or Muslim.
Right. So this is like ROTC. Am I guessing right? ROTC high school kids.
I'm not sure. I don't really know much about.
Okay.
That. But I think he'll get into it.
Crone and a sage.
I think it's amazing how the military will accommodate for this because it's not the norm in regular society.
There is a hungering in the hearts of a lot of young people as they're looking to find meaning in life, and particularly for a soldier who's asked to lay down their life for values and for a nation. Religion plays a key point in helping answer those deep down identity questions of who we are.
I'm grateful for my spirit guides and the paths they walk with me.
I'm grateful for the presence of magical around us. I'm grateful for a chance to change who I am.
Also, I just found out apparently, it's not as bad as it could be. Like that, I don't know. I still don't know exactly what's going on with my dog, but apparently, like, they ruled out cardiac failure, which is good at least, but I'm still, like, on edge.
That's good
I
to
got
hear, sweetie. I'm glad.
practicing magic. Rachel said we would be practicing magic.
Yeah, I
together,
just,
so
my
think
mind always
that makes
goes
me
to the
really
worst
excited.
places.
Well, we can wrap it up anytime you want.
Oh, no, I still have, like,
But I did begin to
30-ish
find
minutes
out a little
before I have
bit
to
about
be
the
there.
program that we were involved in. I did find out from those guys that the liaison officer that was on our boat was getting a reward, a bounty for ears. When he was killing those kids and innocent women and children, he would get a bounty of approximately $80 for a set of ears. 80 American dollars for a set of ears. Well, you could imagine. That is when I first got my first clue there was something wrong with our government. At first, I thought, Washington can't possibly know what's going on here. These guys are, just a bunch of cowboys out here doing this on their own. If Washington knew what was going on, they'd put a stop to that. But I eventually realized, this was the program. I eventually found out, not then, but later, as I got back home years later, I found out we were a part of something called Operation Phoenix. And as I read up on it later, years later, I found out that we had
just like in the
killed
mirror.
somewhere between 40 and
Yep.
60,000 children, women, innocent people, and our CIA had paid, like I said, approximately $80 for a set of ears. Well, of course, I didn't know all that at that time. But I'd ask around. I'd ask how we got in this mess. Why were we here? Like I said, nobody could give me a straight answer except one young man. This young man was a very intelligent young man. Me and him started doing drugs together and running around a little bit. Extremely intelligent young man. And actually, he had made a lot of money before coming to Vietnam, investing in what he called the military-industrial complex. And I'd ask him, he talked to me about investing and how to make money in what he called Council on Foreign-Related Military-Industrial Complex. Of course, being a young man from Oklahoma, I didn't understand the vast network it took to build the armaments of warfare. I didn't know. I never heard the term military-industrial complex. Certainly never heard the term Council on Foreign Relations. And I said, well, who is this Council on Foreign Relations and what do they do? How do they run the military-industrial complex? And he said, well, they're a branch of the Illuminati. And I said, the Illum of what? The Illuminati. And I said, well, what's that? And he said, it's a bunch of occultists. I said, cultists. And I said, remind me never to smoke any more of your dope. You're crazier than I am, I just didn't want to believe, and we don't want to believe some of these things. You have to have a love for the truth to believe the truth. You know that? My mind balked at the idea of believing that maybe all of my friends and all the innocent blood spilt by all my friends, and they had died at the hands and on the altar of corporate greed by a bunch of occultists. So I found that hard to believe. Occultists. I said, well, what do you mean they're the Illuminati and occultists? What's their deal? He said they're a group of international socialists bound and determined to create in this world and impose upon us all a one world government, a one world financial system, and a one world religion.
I want to share something.
Yep.
And I want to show people, because this is the way they virtue signal. And this is this is like the things that you can pay attention to as like red herrings or black swans, whichever. I need to get those two. I mix those two up. But yeah, I want to show this announcement. This is in what website? This is on the FBI.gov in Atlanta. Keep in mind what Kendrick Lamar hearkened to in Atlanta during they're not like us, right? Pay attention to the date. That's year 2020, 2 days before Halloween. Samhain. 2 days before Samhain, FBI announces results of Operation Phoenix in Atlanta.
Are you
FBI
showing it?
Oh,
Because
shit. Hold on a sec. No, I'm not. Sorry. Okay, here we go. FBI Special Agent Charge Chris Hacker, interim Atlanta Police Chief Rodney Bryant, and U.S. Attorney is at Baying JBJ Pack announced that 12 of Atlanta's most violent offenders are being charged as a result of Operation Phoenix, a sustained and coordinated law enforcement initiative to fight violent crime in the city of Atlanta. Operation Phoenix began on August 18th, 2020, in an effort to identify, investigate, and prosecute those individuals deemed the most dangerous to the citizens of the city. Federal law enforcement agencies worked in conjunction with local and state law enforcement to identify offenders. The following 12 subjects are only the first of hopefully many arrests, as we will continue to work together for the benefit of the city of Atlanta and its citizens.
what should I be looking out for? Because I need context.
Okay, well, here's your occulted stuff. We have Operation Phoenix, right? There's one, and then 12 people, right? Numbers are significant, right? Words. This is the type of whistleblowing they do, and those with ears to hear are going to know exactly what they're talking about. Okay, under federal law, it is illegal to possess a firearm if you fall into one of the 9 prohibited categories, including being a felon, illegal alien, or unlawful user of controlled substances. Law enforcement agencies who participate in Operation Phoenix include FBI Atlanta and the Safe Streets Gang Task Force, and the Atlanta Police Department, U.S. Attorney's Office, Northern District of Georgia, Georgia Bureau of Investigations, Homeland Security Investigations, ATF Atlanta, DEA Atlanta, and the U.S. Secret Service. You mean to tell me, what did they do? What did these guys do? Battery against a police officer? You're telling me you had to get all these fucking agencies in to take all these men, the oldest one being 41. Okay, so what was it? A standoff? What was it? So there's something to this. I'm going to send it to my friend Rambo, who's the master at gematria, and see what he has to say. It'd be interesting.
I'm not going to lie. I'm really lost.
It's okay. It's okay.
All right. Should we continue? Let's see. Where was it? Oh, right.
What did you say? It's wordplay, my friend. Numbers and words are hidden, but we see it. Yeah. Those with ears to hear will always hear it, and they will see it. And unfortunately for the men, 9 times out of women, it is the women that are making these connections.
All right. Let's see. Classic reincarnation holds that there is a limited number of. Wait, did I read this? Oh, wait, yeah, I think I. Oh, no, I didn't. Classic reincarnation holds that there is a limited number of souls being recycled over eons through thousands of lives. Obviously, there is a problem with this theory, as there. No, I think I did read this. Okay, here. New race, where is the decaying? Okay, here it is. At the bottom of Depuraker's soul barrel are a few. Oh, wait, no, I read that too. Sorry. Okay, the lack in certain circles of openness to the light of New Age teaching is explained as one clue that these are the ones lacking developed souls. Other symptoms mentioned by Theosophical Society co-founder W.Q. I think like W. Quan Judge or something, are genetic, physical, or mental deformities, antisocial behavior, and Chinese nationality. What does he have against Chinese people? Egos may even desert their bodies, leaving functioning but soulless shells. Notice that sounds like the NPC narrative that people have been pushing on social media for the past few years.
Mm-hmm.
Like some people mean it as a joke, but some people literally believe it.
It's very dehumanizing. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's very dehumanizing.
So that's from Why Races Die Out. Path, I forget which text, but it's the one that has Path in it. October 1891. For anthroposophist, former theosophist Rudolf Steiner, the underdeveloped souls were found in dark-skinned bodies.
Oh, God fucking damn.
Yeah. Taught in all Waldorf schools under racial ethnography. I'm guessing they probably don't teach that anymore, but what do I know?
Where is it? Are we a theosophical or we're at which
Anthroposophy.
Let me go look it up. What's the name of the school?
Well, Waldorf schools.
Waldorf. Yeah, there's probably still
Waldorf. Waldorf.
I got it. Yeah, they're find a Waldorf school. Yeah, they're around. There's black people working there. Do they realize what they're doing? Do they?
Well,
Oh,
there's also black people in the Mormon Church. So, and then
I
there's
know.
Anyway, what then would be the most humane response given our overcrowded planet and the beneficial effect of physical death? The benevolent New Age program is already underway. 3b, karma. Hindu term means that this life contains rewards or punishments for good or bad deeds done in your previous lives, meted out by an impersonal mechanism called the universal law of harmony, which unerringly maintains equilibrium in the cosmos. William Quanjaj, The Ocean of Theosophy. Not only individuals, but races and even planets are affected by karma, as Alice Bailey discusses in Initiation, Human and Solar, page 41. It is not explained how the punishment for a certain individual's actions can be passed on to another innocent individual through genetics, nor is it explained how that would be fair, but anyone who inherits a genetic defect is assumed to merit the punishment. Similar rules apply to racial karma and to explain the suffering of the Jews. In other words, descendants inherit the payment for their ancestors' behavior as well as for their own. This is like literally some of the stuff that Nazis believed.
Exactly. Yeah. It's all stemming from the same sources. We just got to figure out where those sources are.
This cosmic...
I was going to say, I got some stuff on the William Quan judge, the WQ judge that you were talking about. He didn't even become a naturalized citizen in America till he was 21. He's from Dublin, Ireland. He came to America when he was 13 years old. And he helped Helena and Alcott get the Theosophical Society started.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, sweet. We're almost to like halfway through this, and that'll probably be a good place to get to. This cosmic law of nature literally never makes a mistake. There is no such thing as pure innocence, even in a tiny baby. It says babe, but baby. Every soul carries within it the scars of centuries of wrong thinking and wrongdoing. Dr. Rodney Romney, Journey to Inner Space, page 127. Past lives which are lived wrongly bring about karma which must be worked off without complaint. Flying in the face of all New Age social activism, the purest intention of karma logically concludes that no one should try to alleviate their own or another's suffering, lest we interfere with the outworking of their karma, upset the balance of cosmic justice, and prolong someone's dreary journey through future lives. This rationale has long been followed in India, where sick and starving people of low caste are left to die in the streets. W. Quan Judge taught extensively on this theme, the Ocean of Theosophy, and commented on its application to the Jews. The cosmic balance maintained by karma is alternatively described in Oriental terms of yin and yang, where light and darkness, good and evil, are needed in equal portions for a person, an ethnic race, or the cosmos to be whole. Like its twin doctrine, reincarnation, the evidence for karma is always subjective, and it is always self-serving for those already living well. The iron rule that everyone has got exactly what they deserve cannot help but legitimize the status quo for those who like things as they are, a classic example of circular reasoning. 3c, eugenics, improving the race through breeding. It is agreed that theoretically it is immoral for spiritually or physically inferior creatures to use up space and limited resources on our quote-unquote overpopulated spaceship Earth. What's this? Population is from... Oh, this is B2. All right. Overpopulated spaceship Earth, which should be used to nurture the people who are better equipped to carry the human race to higher levels. Moreover, the purity of the human race becomes downgraded as such quote-unquote lower egos reproduce and interbreed with a better stock, the quote-unquote better stock. This in turn jeopardizes the success of the next quantum leap to a new subrace. In such a context, eugenicists see themselves not as racists, but responsible leaders working for the good of humanity, undertaking a noble and necessary but misunderstood task, even a holy task. Quote, there is now no reasonable excuse for refusing to face the fact that nothing but a eugenics religion can save our civilization from the fate that has overtaken all previous civilizations, end quote. George Bernard Shaw, quoted by Mark Haller, Eugenics, page 19. The outer defects, which are taken to be outworkings of negative karma, make it easier to identify the spiritually inferior, quote-unquote, inferior strains of humanity, which will, quote-unquote, endanger human progress. Two strategies can then be employed to strictly segregate the superior humanity from contact and mingling with inferior strains, and to hasten the demise of the undesired strains by preventing reproduction and by cutting short their natural lifespans wherever possible. Both strategies have been institutionalized in this century on a nationwide level, most notably in the Hindu caste system and in the Nazi racial purity laws. Theosophy was the conduit from the former to the latter, more in the Nazism section. Let's see. A look at the history of Planned Parenthood. Until 1942, called the Great American Birth Control League, will reveal that its founders Margaret Sanger, Madison Grant, and Dr. Lothrop Stoddard advocated a strong eugenicist worldview, proclaimed on the masthead of the Birth Control Review as creating a race of thoroughbreds. Americans of that era were quite receptive to racial purity ideas, and the masthead did not create the furor it undoubtedly would today. For race betterment is such an intensely practical matter. When peoples come to realize that the quality of the population is the source of all the prosperity, progress, security, and even existence, we shall see much abused eugenics actually molding social programs and political policies. We are the next generation, end quote. Stoddard, The Rising Tide of Color Against White World Supremacy. Wow. This guy was literally so freaking racist. And wow.
Which
Sanger,
one was that? Which one is it?
Stoddard, Dr. Lothrop Stoddard.
Oh, okay. All right.
Sanger advocated not only the elimination of quote-unquote elimination of human weeds, unquote, in a social context, but approved of the, quote, sterilization of genetic inferior races, unquote, the pivot of civilization, page 101, 108, and 123. Although she proposed a peaceful path to racial purification in which people would be educated and paid to foster more children from the fit, fewer from the unfit, Sanger had no quarrel with the Nazis. Compulsory sterilization program, with the Nazis' compulsory sterilization program. Another BC Birth Control League member, Harry Laughlin, received an honorary medical degree from the University of Heidelberg in appreciation of his contributions to the Third Reich. Richard Hertz, Chanson symbol, page 107. In return, a number of American eugenicists used the Eugenics Record Office, a Birth Control League enterprise, to make Adolf Hitler an honorary member. See Robert Proctor, Racial Hygiene, page 103. Although this was not done, Nazi articles were printed and Nazi sterilization policies were praised in the Birth Control Review, even after American eugenicists were invited to witness their coercive and often brutal methods. See more under Nazism section. Has Planned Parenthood distanced themselves from the unsavory history of their organization? Not if their annual report of 1985 is the last word. Quote, proud of our past and planning for our future, end quote. The quote, planning has included birth control and or sterilization of the quote unquote mentally disabled. I'll just say that the word isn't disabled, it's with R. Project 3, the quote unquote physically handicapped, Project 4, and quote psychiatric patients, criminals, and prisoners, Project 6. Planned Parenthood Federation of America, 5-year plan, 1976 to 1980. While it is true that Planned Parenthood circulated a statement in February 1998, the truth about Margaret Sanger, see the PPFA online library and resource center, to refute Sanger's alleged racism, their efforts are embarrassing. For example, Sanger is exonerated from the racist masthead of the birth control review because she did not personally invent the slogan. And then for proof, they quote her assessment of the raising of human thoroughbreds as the noblest and most difficult art. There are also cases of outright denial. One example claiming that the review by Havelock Ellis of Stoddard's Rising Tide was published by Sanger in order to denounce Stoddard's racism, while ignoring the fact that Stoddard remained a co-leader in good standing at the BC Birth Control League. Another refuting Sanger's motto, more children from the fit, less from the unfit, by attributing it to the editors of American Medicine who were summarizing her article published therein, omitting the fact that Sanger reprinted this line in the May 1919 Birth Control Review alongside her article. In some cases, unsavory Sanger quotes are denounced as non-existent, whereas other sources have cited book and page for them. The Sanger statement cited above from Pivot About Human Weeds and Genetic Inferior Races is specifically dismissed as an allegation by anonymous anti-family planning activists. I know of no other attempt by Planned Parenthood to deal with Margaret Sanger's eugenics. Did Planned Parenthood target only poor Black communities for eugenic control, as most people believe? Not if the locations of their birth control clinics are any indication. Sanger herself opened one in the Brownsville section of New York, not a neighborhood of poor Afro-Americans, but immigrant Slavs, Hispanics, Italians, and Jews. Wow. In the 1998 statement, the PPFA refutes the fact that Sanger targets these groups for population control by saying that she was not promoting abortion among them, only birth control, quote unquote. Were Sanger's undesirables limited to the socially unproductive and the quote unquote, or no, there's no quote unquote, but to the socially unproductive and genetically dysfunctional? Not if we consider her own declaration that dysgenic races, quote unquote, dysgenic races should rightly include quote unquote fundamentalists and Catholics, end quote. A purely religious consideration. See Women's Body, Women's Right, Linda Gordon. We will see later that according to Bailey's New World Order, religious conviction does indeed affect one's fitness for the new human subrace. Some sources claim that Margaret Sanger was indeed a theosophy devotee, which would explain many of her convictions, but I have not yet found documentation for this claim. So I think that's probably a good place to end off with the reading, but there is one more video if you want to watch that, and then we could talk a bit about that and end it off.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I just need to pull it up now. Let's see here.
The charades continue in American politics. Last week, Donald Trump likened himself to an Ayn Rand protagonist, going on to say the novel Fountainhead relates to business, beauty, life, and inner emotions. The book's hero is uncompromising, questionably treats women, incites rapture among his followers, and even has orange hair to top it off. It's no surprise Trump identifies with the character.
Ms. Rand? In your book, Atlas Shrugged, isn't it true that you gave a blueprint for the world takeover by the Illuminati?
By whom?
The Illuminati.
Who's the Illuminati?
The Illuminati is the international bankers, Rothschild, the Rockefellers, and all the Bilderbergers.
But you think her philosophy then would lead to capitalist control of everything?
Her Atlas Shrugged, she gives an exact blueprint for 8 years of the world takeover, and it's in force right now.
Look at her looking like, what?
Certainly not.
I did not.
Of any such conspiracies. Certainly Rockefeller is hardly an example of capitalism. And what Atlas Shrugged gives you is a blueprint for how to be free.
I want to explain a book before I give its title, and I want you to choose carefully as to whether you want it or not. I don't want you later getting mad at me because I recommended it. It is not a Christian book. It is not a political book. It is an Illuminatus book. The book was ordered, written, and produced by Philip Rothschild, the leader of the Illuminati in this day and age. And within the book is a step-by-step plan to take over the whole world by taking over the United States. Most people have found the Illuminati in things that have crossed their path. People have found it in the occult, and mistakenly they have said, aha, the Illuminati is the occult. Then they have found it in the Masons, and they said, aha, the Illuminati is the Masons. Then they have found it in politics. They said, oh, it's politics. So they found it in the international banking system, or they found it in Zionism. So they list it as just being that. Actually, it is all these things and much more. They found it in the Mormon religion. That's because the leaders of the Mormon religion are high echelons in the Illuminati. They have found it in the John Birch Society. That's because the man who leads the John Birch Society is both a high degree Mason and a Mormon. But it is all these things, and its power is finance. When you study Atlas Shrugged, this book was written, as I said, 12 years ago. You will find out that you are reading the front pages of the paper today. The oil shortage that doesn't exist, they state that they destroy their own oil wells, that they hide their own oil so nobody can have it. They state how they destroy the coal mines and shut the coal mines down to shut the electricity down. They state how they cripple the country and no food is grown. It states how they pick and derail trains and so that no trains go.
Indeed, Yam.
And in the book, they gain control
Double
of the world
speak.
by bankrupting their own businesses. The Illuminati owns most, I would say 99 and 9/10 of the stores that you walk into and shop and the gas stations you go to. And they are going to destroy them on purpose. They are in the process of buying up over the last few years all the stores they don't own. They bought up grants, they bankrupted. They just bought up 2 guys, and you can watch for them to go out of business. And they keep in business the ones that they've always owned, and they are going to bankrupt them before long and cripple them and destroy them. And the idea of taking over is to bankrupt the whole world where nothing is of any value and the currency does not exist anywhere, and then come back and solve all the problems.
This May 14th meeting, ID 2020, where both the Pope as well as Bill Gates and many others are talking about how do we identify humans? How do we and this is what they're posing it as. Okay, they're saying, well, you know, there's billions of people without any kind of identification. Yeah, of course they're called free human beings. Okay, but they're proposing it as, well, gosh, there's at least 1 billion people in undeveloped countries that don't have a driver's license. Well, yeah, they don't have a car, folks. They don't have
Oh
a
my
tax ID.
God.
Yeah, because they're not taxed, or you know, whatever it is, and they want to fix that. Well, what are they trying to do? What is the agenda behind all of this that we know scripturally? It is an agenda towards total control, totalitarian control, full world global government.
Ladies and gentlemen, Head of State Thompson.
Good evening, my fellow Americans. Tonight, I can...
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Thompson will not speak to you tonight. His time is up. For years, you've asked, who is John Galt? You've asked that question in despair and resignation as factories closed.
And you know who absolutely loves Ayn Rand and her
Lives
works?
are becoming more difficult
Who?
as the life force
Donald
of your
Trump.
world is draining away. You have asked that question without
Mm.
expecting an answer. I'm here to answer it.
And
This is John Galt speaking.
notice how much John Galt looks like Trump.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's definitely, I don't agree with everything in the video, but there's, I don't know, it's,
Sorry. There's something I want to show as we're closing out.
yep.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, Angel, we'll let you know that I do have an anti-cult Discord that you can get the link to in my description section of my channel. And in in my profile it says, "I am not your cult leader." I'm not trying to start a cult. I don't want any of that. I want people to be aware of what's happening to them. So many people do not know. They have no idea what's coming.
Wait,
And
so that means you're the leader of Not Your Cult?
I am the leader of the non-cult. Right. Yeah. All right, so I want to show you all. This is from a movie, and this really, really hit home for me as to what's going on too. Hopefully, I don't get a copyright strike. If I do, oh fucking well.
Wait, what's it from?
It is from the movie called The Network. It's a
Oh,
very good movie.
I really think that's probably going to be copyright stricken.
It's on somebody else's channel, so I'm not worried about it. If it is, it is.
Yeah. Are you playing it from their channel?
Yeah, somebody else's channel. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I'll play it from their channel so you all can see it. Let me get over here and get it up. Okay.
Revelation is at hand. I have seen the shattering fulgurations of ultimate clarity. The light is impending. I bear witness to the light.
Good morning, Mr. Beale. They tell me you're a madman.
Only desultorily.
How are you now?
I'm as mad as a hatter.
Who is it? I'm going to take you into our conference room. Seems more seemly a setting for what I have to say to you. I started as a salesman, Mr. Beale. I sold sewing machines and automobile parts, hairbrushes, and electronic equipment. They say I can sell anything. I'd like to try to sell something to you. Valhalla, Mr. Beale. Please sit down.
Valhalla.
You have meddled with the primal forces of nature, Mr. Beale, and I won't have it. Is that clear? You think you've merely stopped a business deal. That is not the case. The Arabs have taken billions of dollars out of this country, and now they must put it back. It is ebb and flow, tidal gravity. It is ecological balance. You are an old man who thinks in terms of nations and peoples. There are no nations. There are no peoples. There are no Russians. There are no Arabs. There are no third worlds. There is no West. There is only one holistic system of systems. One vast and immane, interwoven, interacting, multivariate, multinational dominion of dollars. Petrodollars, electrodollars, multi-dollars, Reichmarks, rims, rubles, pounds, and shekels. It is the international system of currency which determines the totality of life on this planet. That is the natural order of things today. That is the atomic and subatomic and galactic structure of things today. And you have meddled with the primal forces of nature. And you will atone. Am I getting through to you, Mr. Beale? You get up on your little 21-inch screen and howl about America and democracy. There is no America. There is no democracy. There is only IBM and ITT and AT&T and DuPont, Dow, Union Carbide, and Exxon. Those are the nations of the world today. What do you think the Russians talk about in their councils of state? Karl Marx? They get out their linear programming charts, statistical decision theories, Minimax solutions, and compute the price-cost probabilities of their transactions and investments, just like we do. We no longer live in a world of nations and ideologies, Mr. Beale. The world is a college of corporations, inexorably determined by the immutable bylaws of business. The world is a business, Mr. Beale. It has been since man crawled out of the slime. And our children will live, Mr. Beale, to see that perfect world in which there's no war or famine, oppression or brutality. One vast and ecumenical holding company for whom all men will work to serve a common profit, in which all men will hold a share of stock, all necessities provided, all anxieties
Tranquilized.
all boredom amused. And I have chosen you, Mr. Beale, to preach this evangel.
Why me?
Because you're on television, dummy. 60 million people watch you every night of the week, Monday through Friday.
I have seen the face of God.
You just might be right, Mr. Beale.
That evening, Howard Beale went on the air to preach the corporate cosmology of Arthur Jensen.
When I'm on vacation, I want less of this.
Okay. So there we have it. That movie was very eye-opening for me. Absolutely.
It's interesting. When you said the network, I for whatever reason thought you were talking about the social network, like the one about Facebook.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And yeah, look here. Exactly. They've always told us, guys, and I know it's like everybody gets into decoding of movies and stuff. It's cool. I could do that in my sleep. I love it so much because they literally have always told us. We've always had a chance to stand up and push back. Our ancestors have had chances to stand up and push back. This has been coming down the pipes for a very, 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 very long time. Let's see. The news can just announce there's an animal flu spread and shut down all the small farms. Total monopoly on food production. Yes, it's
But see,
disgusting.
that's the thing. The news purposely isn't reporting on it, and
Mhm.
neither is the government. Like what?
You have to go digging for these articles. That's what I was telling Mary. That's what made What the Fuck Betty so awesome, because we just grab headlines and you get the raw reaction as to how we feel about it. And these are articles that, most people aren't talking about at all.
But like my point though is that there's this idea that like, oh, the news is trying to convince people that there's like a pandemic when there's not. No, the news is basically trying to not report on a pandemic before it happens, because that's the thing. This stuff is preventable, but when there's not enough information, people don't know to be careful. People don't know what's going on, and that's the thing. Rather than the government telling people what to do, the government should give people information. And with what the Trump administration is doing now is they're slashing any chance for that information to get out. They're literally taking articles and papers and studies off of the CDC and NIH website, stuff that's already been done.
We are living history. Things are being actively well, they started around 2016, probably when Trump got into office. Things were being scrubbed off the internet, and then not long ago, if you remember, archive.org was down for like 2 or 3 days. They were going through a huge court battle of like copyright stuff going on. It was shut down. It's like, well, every time they do that, they're scrubbing stuff. They're really making sure things are clean. Hey, EDM, good to see you. Hope you're doing all right.
Just one last thing that I think is like perfectly in the mood before we finish this off.
One thing I want to say about that, Angel, is our America, the land of the free and home of the brave, is the petri dish of whatever they just wanted to test and see to do on people. Other countries, people can eat the same food that they have allergies in America with. They can go to other countries and not have an allergy.
That's wild.
Yeah, it is scripted.
But yeah, this song feels extra prescient right now. Una mattina mi son svegliato, oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Una mattina mi son svegliato e ho trovato l'invasor. Oh partigiano, portami via. Oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Partigiano, portami via, che mi sento di morire. E se muoio da partigiano, oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. E se io muoio da partigiano, tu mi devi seppellire e seppellire lassù in montagna. Oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. E seppellire lassù in montagna sotto l'ombra di un bel fior. E delle genti che passeranno. Oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. E delle genti che passeranno mi diranno che bel fior. E questo è il fiore del partigiano. Oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Questo è il fiore del partigiano, morto per la libertà.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful. With that, I want to say thank you all for coming, and we'll catch you later. Blessings.
Have a good night.